Din Djarin, the titular character of The Mandalorian, has become a focal point of debate among Star Wars fans as a potential candidate to lead the Mandalorians and perhaps reclaim the title of Mandalore, the historic leader of their people. While his character arc has consistently emphasized personal growth, loyalty, and adherence to the tenets of Mandalorian culture, the question of whether he will ultimately rise to the occasion as the new Mandalore remains intriguing. To explore this, we must examine his traits, his role within the larger Mandalorian story, and the complexities surrounding the leadership of Mandalore itself. From the outset, Din Djarin's life is marked by struggle and survival. Orphaned during the Clone Wars and rescued by the Children of the Watch, his adherence to the Mandalorian creed is deeply personal and unwavering. Unlike other Mandalorian factions that interpret their traditions more liberally, the Children of the Watch adhere to a stricter, almost orthodox code. This rigid adherence shapes Din's identity and worldview, as seen in his reluctance to remove his helmet in the presence of others, a symbolic gesture of his devotion to the creed. Despite his strong moral compass and dedication to Mandalorian customs, Din's journey also reflects his adaptability and capacity for growth. Over the course of the series, he navigates the complexities of loyalty and personal bonds, especially in his relationship with Grogu. His willingness to challenge his own beliefs for Grogu's safety and happiness demonstrates his ability to prioritize the greater good, a trait essential for a leader. Din's evolution, combined with his natural charisma and sense of honor, positions him as a strong candidate to unite the disparate Mandalorian factions. Another important factor in Din's potential ascension as Mandalore lies in his connection to the Darksaber, a revered symbol of leadership among Mandalorians. The Darksaber's history is deeply intertwined with Mandalorian culture, as it was forged by Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian Jedi. Over time, it became a symbol of power, passed down through combat or conquest. Din's acquisition of the Darksaber from Moff Gideon was unintentional, yet it thrust him into a position of significance within Mandalorian society. By tradition, possession of the Darksaber confers the right to rule Mandalore, though it also brings the burden of uniting a fractured people. Din's relationship with the Darksaber is complex. Unlike Bo-Katan Kryze, who sought the blade as a means to rally Mandalorians, Din has no personal ambition to lead. His reluctance underscores his humility and lack of interest in power for its own sake. This disinterest, while commendable, also raises questions about his suitability as a leader. Mandalorians are a proud and independent people, often resistant to centralized authority. A leader who lacks ambition may struggle to inspire unity or command respect among such a fiercely independent group. However, this very humility could work in his favor, as it sets him apart from power-hungry figures and emphasizes his commitment to the Mandalorian way of life rather than personal gain. Din's interactions with Bo-Katan further highlight the challenges of Mandalorian leadership. Bo-Katan, a seasoned warrior and former regent of Mandalore, possesses the experience and determination often associated with leadership. However, her failure to unite the Mandalorians during her previous tenure casts doubt on her ability to reclaim the mantle of Mandalore. Her insistence on obtaining the Darksaber through combat reveals her adherence to tradition, but it also underscores her limitations. In contrast, Din's accidental acquisition of the Darksaber and his reluctance to wield it suggest a different approach to leadership, one based on actions and values rather than symbols. The question of Din's potential as Mandalore also ties into broader themes within Star Wars, particularly the balance between individuality and collective identity. The Mandalorian culture is inherently diverse, with various factions holding conflicting ideologies and practices. Uniting these groups under a single leader requires not only strength and charisma, but also a deep understanding of Mandalorian values and a willingness to embrace their diversity. Din's experiences as a bounty hunter, a protector, and a reluctant wielder of the Darksaber provide him with a unique perspective on the struggles and aspirations of his people. Moreover, the challenges facing Mandalore itself cannot be ignored. The planet has endured decades of conflict, occupation, and devastation, leaving its people scattered across the galaxy. Rebuilding Mandalore requires not only a strong leader but also a vision for the future. A vision that reconciles the planet's storied past with the realities of its present. Din's connection to Grogu and his experiences with various allies throughout the series suggest he possesses the empathy and determination needed to bridge these divides. Whether Din becomes Mandalore or not, his role in shaping the future of Mandalore is undeniable. As a character, he embodies the resilience and adaptability of the Mandalorian people, qualities essential for their survival and resurgence. His journey reflects the tension between tradition and progress, a theme central to Mandalorian culture and the Star Wars universe as a whole. By navigating these challenges, Din has the potential to inspire his people and lead them into a new era of unity and strength. However, whether he accepts the mantle of Mandalore or forges a different path remains an open question, one that will undoubtedly shape the future of Mandalore and the legacy of its people. To further explore Din Djarin's potential to become Mandalore, it's essential to consider the broader socio-political implications of such a leadership role and how Din fits into that framework. Mandalorians are not merely warriors, but a complex people bound by a shared culture, albeit fractured into factions with varying interpretations of their identity. The legacy of Mandalore, therefore, is not just about ruling but about restoring a sense of unity and purpose. Din's journey thus far has laid a foundation for this possibility, though the obstacles in his path are formidable. One of the most significant challenges facing Din is the fractured state of Mandalorian society. Historically, the Mandalorians have been a people divided by war, ideology, and external influences. The civil wars and purges that decimated Mandalore left a deep scar, both physically on the planet and emotionally on its people. The divisions between groups like the Children of the Watch, Bo-Katan's Night Owls, and other surviving Mandalorian clans represent not only differing traditions but also clashing priorities. For Din to ascend as Mandalore, he would need to bridge these divides, something no leader has successfully done in generations. Din's approach to leadership, characterized by actions rather than declarations, might offer a path forward. Unlike traditional power structures, where leaders impose authority from the top down, Din's leadership style is rooted in respect and loyalty earned through personal deeds. His willingness to risk his life for his companions, uphold the Mandalorian creed, and protect the innocent resonates with those around him. This grassroots form of leadership could serve as a unifying force among Mandalorians, many of whom respect strength and honor above titles or symbols. However, Din's lack of political experience is a potential weakness. Mandalore is not merely a military leader, but also a figurehead who must navigate complex alliances, negotiate with external powers, and oversee the rebuilding of Mandalorian society. The political dynamics of the galaxy, especially with the remnants of the Empire and the rising influence of the New Republic, add layers of complexity to this role. Din's background as a bounty hunter and his isolationist upbringing within the Children of the Watch mean he lacks the diplomatic finesse that figures like Bo-Katan might bring to the table. To succeed as Mandalore, he would need to rely heavily on advisors and allies who complement his skills, a task that itself requires trust and collaboration. The role of Grogu in Din's potential rise to power is another compelling element. Grogu is more than just Din's companion. He represents a bridge between cultures and ideologies. As a Force-sensitive being trained in the ways of the Jedi, Grogu symbolizes a connection to the mystical and spiritual aspects of the Star Wars universe, which often play a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of key figures. Grogu's bond with Din humanizes the stoic Mandalorian, making him relatable not only to audiences but potentially to Mandalorians seeking a leader with compassion and vision. Furthermore, Grogu's presence complicates Din's relationship with tradition. The Mandalorian creed, particularly as interpreted by the Children of the Watch, emphasizes strict adherence to its tenets, sometimes at the expense of personal connections. Din's decision to remove his helmet for Grogu and his willingness to defy certain aspects of the creed suggest he is capable of balancing tradition with the demands of the present. This balance is crucial for any prospective Mandalore, as rigid adherence to the past would likely alienate factions with more progressive views, while complete abandonment of tradition would erode the cultural identity that binds Mandalorians together. Another important aspect to consider is the significance of the Darksaber and its role in Mandalorian society. The blade, as a symbol of leadership, carries immense weight, but but it also comes with expectations that may conflict with Din's personal values. His reluctance to wield the Darksaber and his lack of proficiency with it highlight his discomfort with the idea of leadership through power. Yet this reluctance might also signal a break from the cycle of violence and conquest that has plagued Mandalorian history. By redefining what it means to lead, with the Darksaber as a unifying symbol rather than a weapon of domination, Din could set a precedent for a new era of Mandalorian leadership. The galactic context further complicates Din's potential ascension as Mandalore. The political landscape of the galaxy, in the aftermath of the Galactic Empire's fall, remains volatile. The New Republic's focus on centralizing power and rebuilding stability leaves little room for independent systems like Mandalore to assert themselves without opposition. As Mandalore, Din would need to navigate this delicate balance between asserting Mandalore's sovereignty and avoiding unnecessary conflict with larger powers. His outsider status within both the New Republic and traditional Mandalorian politics could serve as both an asset and a liability, allowing him to approach challenges with fresh perspectives while also making him a target for skeptics. Ultimately, Din's journey toward potentially becoming Mandalore is as much about self-discovery as it is about uniting his people. His actions throughout The Mandalorian have shown his capacity for growth, empathy, and resilience. Whether he chooses to embrace the mantle of Mandalore or carve a different path, his story will undoubtedly shape the future of Mandalorian culture and its place within the galaxy.